Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all having a good day. I'm talking about a bit of a serious topic today. It's about, I guess, like mental health, just like about looking out for each other, really. And the reason I'm making this video is because when I went back home for a couple of days, and one of the first things my dad said to me was one of his workmates had basically committed suicide, and it was kind of like all I said was fucking hell, because I'd never heard anything like, I'd never kind of experienced or heard of someone like local, like around my life. I mean, I didn't know this workmate. I didn't know this workmate of my dad's, but he was quite close to my dad. And then we went to my uncle and auntie's house that night, and my uncle said, "Oh yeah, one of my mates has killed himself as well." And then a couple of days later, today actually, I'm on my Instagram stories. I'm looking at one of my mates in uni. His mate, someone my age, I'm 19. Someone my age had killed himself as well. The reason that each three of those people did it, we don't know, but there's the kind of obvious reason why they might have done that is mental health issues and depression and stuff like that. And I think we've all been through it. We're probably going to go through mental health issues in the future. And I think I just wanted to make a video just saying, like, yeah, look out for each other, sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, I remember just like some of my personal experience with mental health. Being 12, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I had, I was never diagnosed with anything, but I'm pretty sure I had, depression, anxiety, kind of things that most of us teenagers, or people in my generation, Gen Z, people that, like us, what we go through more commonly now. And I guess it's a shame that, like, it's because it's been more talked about, there seems to be a correlation, or people assume that there's a correlation between it being talked about and the rise in the actual issue itself, so the actual mental health issue itself. I don't think that's necessarily true, that just because we're talking about it and making these really kind of miserable topics a part of our normal conversation, a part of our normal dialogue, I don't think there's any real correlation between that and it happening more. I had friends, but it felt like I didn't. Do you know what I mean? And it's been a while since fortunately I'm far past that time. But it was a weird thing, because I didn't feel like the stereotypical, like, kind of the stereotype of being depressed, like being sad, sat on your bed, or like doing nothing all day, grey clouds outside. I didn't really feel like that. I felt quite alright most of the time, but I knew I was upset, and social anxiety as well. I've never really felt like I've been able to fit in with certain crowds or with certain people, with most people, to be honest. There's only a few people who I've been able to really kind of connect with and fit in with all my life, really. And as well, it's definitely is, because if you can't fit into a crowd, then it's kind of like you're isolated, versus there's this massive group of friends who seem to get along so well. But I think what I want to say with this video is just, even though I was feeling that way, there are 100 other people probably in that other crowd that were also feeling that way. And just know that as hard as it gets, it can always get better, I believe. Like, you're not alone in this. People there for you, and people who actually care about you, and people who are willing to, I remember this, what was his name? Liverpudlian bloody UFC fighter, and he was like, I'd had to bury my mate the other week. He was in like a podcast thing. I had to bury my mate the other week, and I'd rather him cry on my shoulder for half an hour than me cry carrying his coffin. I saw that years ago, and that resonated with me quite a lot, because it's true. In a million years, I would much rather have my mate cry on my shoulder, or even just me cry to my mate, rather than either of us have to kind of carry the other one. As much of a responsibility it is of other people to reach out to those who are suffering, it's also important for those who are suffering to, or if you've got one mate, if you've got like one best mate, like, this is my best mate, I'm gonna see him or I'm gonna see her. It's also, it's lack of a better word, but I think, yeah, responsibility for the, if you feel like you're suffering, to kind of say, like, don't be afraid to speak up and say, hey, I'm fucking suffering with something, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is, because everyone's emotions are valid, no matter what, no matter kind of how, no matter why you feel that way. So if you feel anxious because of a reason that you perceive as quite silly, your emotions are still valid. You still feel anxious. It doesn't matter why or how, you still feel anxious. And it's important that you, or well, your community or us mitigates that feeling and makes you feel comfortable in you know, for example, a social situation or whatever. It's a two-way street. I still believe it's important for those who are noticing their friends kind of drift off and drift away, to pull them back in and be like, you okay? And like have a talk and be like, are you actually okay? I've noticed you've been a bit distant. I've noticed you've been a lot less yourself. Is there anything you want to talk about? And it's also important for that person, the person who is drifting away, to make sure that they kind of look at the people who care about them most and think, yeah, I'm gonna go up to them and I'm gonna say to them, I feel like shit. I really don't feel good. And most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you'll find that these grim conversations that we have to have, that we kind of slug through, and you get asked a lot of questions and like, oh, why do you feel this way? What do you feel like? And there's a lot of tears, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of negative emotion. 9 times out of 10, the most conversations I've had have ended up very positive. We've ended up in a place where we've been able to talk about it, and you have to slug through the negativity to get through to the positivity, to the positive conversations, to the funny, to the jokes, to the laughs, to the good times. But it is difficult, and there's no two ways about it, really. Kind of that, if you have the first initial conversation of, I'm not feeling good, I want to talk about it, it's not going to be the prettiest conversation in the world, but it is a necessary conversation. And yeah, it's very important to have that. I know that online, with the whole red pill manosphere, we've brought this idea of masculinity back. I'm talking about men's experiences, because I'm a man. This idea of masculinity we have to shelter our emotions, and we have to kind of show no emotion. I heard this bit of advice from someone on the internet, but you can't keep up appearances, and basically what that just means is you can't keep pretending you're the big man all the time, because no one's the big man. We are all in this together, all right? No one's the big man. No one's the little man. We're all equal. Some of the red pill stuff, yeah, I do agree with, like, work hard, go to the gym, and they will eventually, I think that going to the gym and, cleaning up your diet and doing all this stuff, meditating and whatever, that will help your mental health as well. But my whole point with this video is just start the conversation. Just start a conversation of like, oh, I've noticed you've been feeling bad. I've noticed you've been distant. I've noticed you've been this and that and the other. I'm concerned for you. And just the moral of this video was a bit of a ramble, but the point is, just kind of look out for each other. That's really, really important. And in a world where social media has ironically distanced us, we now need to come back together, because we are humans, and we shouldn't be letting, stuff like social media and the internet and you know, just staying inside all the time doing nothing. We shouldn't let that diminish a true friendship and a true community. Is physical, and basically, you know, you can have a gaming community, but my gaming community back in the day was my mates who I would see in school, who I'd see outside of school, in college or whatever. So you can have like those online communities, but the roots have to be in reality. You can't be living on a computer screen or you know, on social media, because it's just not enough. That contributes as well to the kind of isolation, because all you're seeing from your mate is when you DM your mate, all you're seeing is words on a screen. Like, yes, those are their words, but hearing their words and like just being able to be with someone or be with a group of friends or be with the community in real life and just be present in that community, you know, out to the pub for a drink, out up to the gym, out for a run, for a hike, for a bike ride, you know, whatever. That is infinitely better than online. And we've got to embrace the side of human nature and the side of us that feels pain and that feels shit and that feels all these negative emotions, and just basically be able to have maybe even just one if you're not someone who wants to cry around people, and I'm one of them, I'm not someone who wants to cry around a bunch of people, pick one person to just get them in a room privately and just like be like, just let it out, just let your emotions out in front of them, because you can't keep up appearances, you can't keep them acting like the big man, because you're not, and none of us are. There's no shame in that. It's not what I'm saying. And if you want to actually be a bigger man, then part of that is accepting the fact that you feel shit, but knowing that it will get better. So yeah, just look out for each other, everyone. Just look out for each other. Have each other's backs. You know, notice the small details. I know it's hard, and I know it's quite difficult, and I think I find it easier than a lot of other people. Not saying that in a cocky way, just saying I always have. Notice the smaller things. Notice when your mate's being picked on. Notice when your, you know, random fella on the bus is sobbing his heart out or something. I don't know, but just look out for each other. Yeah, bring it back to our generation, and we've got to pass that down to Gen Alpha. As Gen Zers, we've got to pass it down to Gen Alpha, because we really need to stop. We need to start remembering, accept other people's emotions, and just kind of be there for people. Intimacy, connection, we all need to bring that back, and we need to kind of make sure we're looking out for each other. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. It was a bit of a ramble, but I hope you kind of got the general message of that. So yeah, just wanted to kind of make that video, because it really did kind of, but yeah, look out for each other. See ya.